Today, I'd like to talk about nutrition and the importance of protein in your diet. Shreya Shah, who's the founder of Health Fuel Clinical Nutritionist, is joining me today. Shreya, thanks so much for taking the time and for speaking to me once again.
And thank you, Alex, for having me.
My pleasure. I want to talk about protein. Would you say that this is one of the most underrated nutrients that people have in their diets? They don't give it enough importance.
So when we talk about protein, Alex, the recent survey says that over 80% of Indians are protein deficient.
So, did you say 80?
Yes, 80. 80% of Indian population is protein deficient. One. Second, if you go to see, most of Indians are vegetarians. We do have population which is non-vegetarian, but again, it's not that they are hardcore non-vegetarian. They eat only maybe twice or thrice a week. So I would not call them a classic non-vegetarian. So protein deficiency is something that we are dealing with right now and which is somewhere contributing to too many health problems also, be it chronic diseases like diabetes or something as simple as obesity that we see from children till adults.
Okay, so when we're talking about protein, obviously it's called, and we learned this in school, Shreya, the building blocks of the body. Particularly when you've got an injury or something like that, you have to consume more protein because it helps you build back anything that you've lost. So how much protein in a normal case is appropriate for someone to consume?
So when we talk about normal amount of protein, obviously the recommended dietary allowance that the Indian standard set is 0.8 grams per kg body weight. So whatever your current body weight is, you can multiply it by 0.8 grams and, come down to a conclusion that you would require X amount of protein in a day. Now, 0.8 gram is something that is standard, which will vary according to the age, weight, and obviously the physical activity. So if you're someone who is extremely active, the range will go on a higher side, which would be like 1 to 1.2 grams. So you have to work with some nutritionist and doctor to understand what is the amount that you require, but 0.8 grams per kg body weight is the baseline that you have to work towards. Okay. At least 0.8 grams, because whatever I see right now, we are not able to meet the 0.6 grams per kg body weight also.
Okay, so if I roughly calculate, and just for the sake of simple calculations, if I take one gram per kg of body weight, and if you're talking about Indians by and large falling with between that 60 to 80 gram range, which is also a pretty wide range, right? You're going to need an average of 60 to 80 grams of protein in a day, or even more than, if you calculate the 0.8, you say 50 plus grams of protein. It's not easy to get to that figure. So how much would you say people need to eat, and what kind of stuff do people need to eat, Shreya? The other question also is, I meet a lot of people that say, oh, I eat dal. But as I understand it, a bowl of dal would only give you, what, 5-7 grams of protein?
Hardly 2 to 3 grams, Alex. That's quite low.
Even my estimate is too high. Yeah.
So I would say that when you talk about protein, you just have to, if you want to introduce protein and maybe meet up the requirement, which is somewhere around 50 to 80 grams. Let's say that someone who is 60 kg, and if you multiply by 0.8, the requirement would be somewhere between 48 to 50 grams in a day. Now, simple logic that you have to apply is that every meal of the day that you have, try and see that you have a strong protein source combined with that meal. Now, the classic Indian breakfast, if we talk about, it's more to do with poha, upma, idli, dosa. Now, if you get to see, there's no protein there. So the simple logic is combine it with some good protein source, could be something which is dairy product, or if you're an vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, you can introduce eggs. That's how you balance your meal. So from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you are pairing it with good quality protein sources, automatically, at least you will try and see that 60 to 70% of your requirement is met in a day, easily.
Okay, so name some of the common sources of protein and how much the serving would include, just so that people can add this through the day. And soya chunks is a great option for vegetarians, right?
So I just divided it into two. One is the first class protein or class 1 protein, which is one of the best quality protein. The bioavailability of that protein is good. So that includes the dairy products. That's your paneer, cheese, or something as simple as a glass of milk curd, Greek yogurt. These can be good sources for vegetarians as well. And if you're an vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, eggs, one of the best sources, I think cheapest source also. Plus, do eat your eggs with the yolk. Do not throw away the yolk. Yolk has the maximum nutrition. Chicken, fish, I think these all are good sources. That is first class protein. Now let's come to second class protein, which is more to do with pulses. So we have this tendency to think that dal khaya, matlab we are meeting up our protein requirement, but pulses are secondary sources of protein. And as you mentioned earlier, if you have to meet up your requirement via something as simple as pulses, you would have to eat a lot of quantity of those pulses to meet up the requirement. And same thing when it comes to soya. Again, soya I would consider as a second class protein. So it would again be a secondary protein. So a bowl of soya would not be enough to meet up that 20 grams of protein per meal. We would have to eat maybe 3 to 4 bowls of those soya curry or whatever you have, whatever forms that you have. So maybe the first class protein are much nutrient dense and much protein dense compared to the second class proteins. So try and include the good quality first class protein in the diet.
Okay, and you've named some of them. And the trick therefore, Shreya, is to split it between your 3 or 4 meals and spread it through the day. And to end up, at least do more than you're doing right now. I guess that's the first step, right? So
Yes,
thanks so much.
exactly.
Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me and for taking the time today. Very important conversation, of course.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of Your Money Matters. Here's wishing you happy saving and stay healthy. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.